So, hello, Veronica Winters. This is not the first.
Hello. Hello.
Hello. We have a bit of a delay today, so we're going to try. I'm going to try to remember that and give Veronica time to answer. But it's just a real pleasure for me to be able to have this conversation with you. I have been a big admirer of not just your art, but your drive, maybe your drive or your passion or your hard work. I can always tell that you are working hard to create this, color pencil kingdom of beautiful artwork.
Thank you for the compliment and for the invitation. I'm happy to.
So Veronica, I haven't ever asked you, where do you come from originally?
I'm from Moscow, so I immigrated to the States over 25 years.
25 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
The 90s, after the fall of the Soviet Union.
and where did you first come?
So a while ago.
Yeah, a long time ago. Where did you first land?
I lived in Tulsa, Oklahoma for a while. The first time I came, I got a full ride scholarship at of Tulsa for a couple of semesters. I studied
Wow.
business or not. And that's how to the States.
And now you live in Florida.
Yeah, after a while, I lived in college, Pennsylvania, because I went for my master's degree painting. So and I spent 10 years there, but now I live there.
So you have a business degree and a fine art master's?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Wow. When did you know that you wanted to be an artist?
Well, I was always interested in the arts. My big collection of art books at home, and it was at the time difficult to buy good books back home, and so it made my home special in this way. I had friends coming in and looking at the books as well, and also like to go to different art opening. We have, ballet, all those cultural that happen in Moscow. So I was always into creativity, but at the same time, it wasn't encouraged. I wasn't doing much myself. And so when I graduated business degree, I felt a huge disconnect. I knew I couldn't sit in the office doing some strange work, and an opportunity to go and study art. That's how it started. So I wasn't. I already had. I was pregnant, and I started classes at the university.
Wow. So you must have had your husband's approval, support.
Yeah, with me. He's I would say he's the only big supporter of my art for so many years.
Wow. Well, that is lucky. I'm sure that changed I'm sure that, I mean, that's just had to have made a huge difference in your life. You could be doing something
Yeah.
completely different. Yeah.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't be if he didn't support me. Yes.
Yeah. If my parents hadn't believed in my art, I wouldn't be here talking to you either. So this would be completely, we would be doing two different things completely.
My family didn't really care about my art, but my husband did.
Yeah,
It made a big difference.
it makes a huge difference. You do need some, it's very helpful to have some support. I am going to go ahead and I hope share my screen so that we can look at your artwork.
Okay.
There we go. And I think if I recall that you have, oh yes, you have some very early work down here. When I have to ask you, when you were in school, oh my gosh, 2003. So this must have been in school.
Yes, that was one of my school projects. I put the old work in so people can see
Well, you're laughing, but I mean, it's quite a wonderful piece. It's it's cool.
Well, this one, so when I studied for bachelor's in studio art, it was at Oklahoma State University. I was majoring in watercolor painting. And so this is but I kind of picked up colored pencils and I started combining. So nothing really happened of it, but would start.
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of like the detail of colored pencils from from the very start, and I felt like watercolors didn't give.
Watercolors, you didn't like watercolors that much compared to color pencil?
Well, I both for different reasons. I liked watercolor because it was so spontaneous, quicker in a way, but I like the detail of colored pencil. And you can see I was always into painting my stories, so.
Fading Beauty. Oh my goodness. What a great title. Fading Beauty. Oh, and then look how you signed your name. I don't know if you can see this on the webcast, but it's this little teeny tiny Fading Beauty, Veronica, way down here, no last name. I mentioned these things because it's very typical of a new artist, you know, to like kind of try to hide signature or not put their full name, you know. So yeah, but it's a nice piece, 2002 or 3. Very colorful. I mean, you definitely, your colors are front and center. You know, you are not afraid of adding color where there's no color even, you know, like to me, that's how I feel like you're very much a color person. So this is 2008, beautiful piece. Can you explain it?
You know, there is not that much to say about this one, but I guess it was a period when I started drawing on colored surfaces using colored paper. Instead of using white paper, I switched to using surfaces. And that was one of the first pieces where I combined the portrait painting with the, you know, with the elements.
So do you know how you like, I know it was a long time ago, but do you remember like how you decide what to combine here? Like these, you know, the Italian motif, I
Mhm.
guess, the design plus the candles plus the mat, how do you decide this? How do you start?
Well, Paris is my favorite place, and so I'm inspired by patterns, architecture, um, light of Venice, and so it wasn't that difficult. I just wanted to put the beautiful pattern that I saw in Venice over her head.
Wow. I mean, I would, in a billion years, I would never think of this. Um, I just don't think I think in an abstract way or in a surreal way, so I'm always fascinated how you come up with this. So when you're planning this, do you sketch it out first? I mean, and then try like the pattern in different places?
My process evolved considerably. Like I used to just sketch on paper whatever I thought I would do, looking at the references that I had on my computer first. But then because I wanted to improve the quality of every piece I created, I figured that I needed time planning out the piece. And so what I noticed, the more time I spent planning, the better it looked. And at some point, I just felt it wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough. I needed to improve. And so began using Photoshop to combine different elements to one piece. And the more of that, the more I did of that, the better it got. Because basically I can map out the size of the picture from the start and work on my composition, moving difference around on the screen.
Oh, wow.
Creating that composition until I feel like it's done. I used to do it like sketching over, and colored pencil doesn't like the lines,
Yeah.
doesn't like the erasing. So at some point, it became my process when I started. Yeah, I started painting by planning out my compositions in Photoshop.
Is this an example of a Photoshop start?
Not really. I am a photographer, so I used to photograph my still lifes or portraits, people, whatever I saw, and then I basically photograph. Adjusting certain things, adjusting colors and edges, but this is a still life that I set up on my windowsill, and I photographed it and I drew it.
I
The
I love, 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 love.
I think the easiest way to learn colored pencil drawing or any kind of drawing is from life, and so I did a lot of that first. And then over time, my process and my ideas evolved. I got bored by still life at some point, and I want to draw people instead.
So that was 2008. I think the next one on here is 2012. Is this you?
Yeah, it's a self-portrait.
And
Mhm.
so was this pre-Photoshop?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And again, it's just a picture of me standing next to a window. Yeah. So I just copied my for the most part.
Can you tell me what the title means? Facing 36?
Oh, I usually, I usually create one or two portraits, like self portraits, and so facing 36 is me being 36
Ah,
at that point.
okay.
So it's like a marker for me.
right. I have done 2 self-portraits. I hated them both. Um, so you say you do them frequently?
I do at least 1 or 2 a year. Yeah. Mhm.
It's
Not,
it's hard
it's
to face your own, it's hard to face your own face.
yes, this is true. But I try not at this as my face. I basically do it when I feel like I don't have a model to paint, and so it's a quick way of starting out.
Wow.
Instead of waiting for inspiration or for a model to pop up, I kind of use self to say whatever I want to say.
Wow. I admire that. I think it takes some courage. Yeah, I did not enjoy my self-portraits. Then you kind of take a huge leap. I feel like this is oh my gosh, that is just gorgeous. Do you know what color paper this is on?
This is on art 800 grit
Oh,
paper.
great.
Do you know that paper?
No, I don't. But did you say that it's grape colored?
No, the color itself is like sand, like beige color.
Oh, okay. All right.
But this art paper is like is like a sandpaper.
Yes,
Whenever on it kind of eats your pencil a lot.
I remember. Okay, so
So it's
art,
different
yeah.
grades.
Linda Lucas Hardy uses UArt paper, and I've tried it once. There's a grain to it, correct?
Yeah. Yes, but
Yeah, that is a beautiful piece.
that's a boy for and again it's done from my picture book in Nicaragua when I traveled there a decade ago.
Wow. It's just,
So I worked on a community project building school and so we spent a lot of time with the kids.
yeah.
And they love to pose, I have tons of pictures.
I think that to me, it feels like this is kind of the beginning of your use of really pushing the use of color in skin tones. You see green and purple and pink and blue. I mean, you just see everything in here.
Yeah, it did not like my color wasn't my thing. It sort of it developed time. It took many years to learn it and to expand with it. But you are right. This is the place where I started pushing it.
Yeah, and it takes this also takes courage, It takes courage to pick up a green pencil when you're working on skin tones. But it clearly worked. I mean, he just glows.
Thank you.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. I mean, this must be one of your favorites, isn't it?
It used to be for a long time, but now like I gravitate towards telling a story as opposed to just copying a picture.
Yeah.
And so this one also tells a story. I think he has a lot of and I don't know, there is a lot of emotion in his eyes, something that's quiet and unsaid. And I love that.
I think it's like his mouth isn't completely relaxed,
Mhm.
and together with the expression in his eyes. Yeah, well, he looks like an old soul.
Ye- Yes, that's what I saw in him. Mhm.
Yeah. Well, you captured that beautifully. And then we have this adorable, this to me feels, when I think of Veronica Winters, I think of a painter of women, a painter who wants to show the many sides and strengths of a woman. If I were to say, if I were to sum up how I view you as an artist, would you agree?
Um, Probably. Well, it's nice to hear that it shows in this way, uh, because I often feel vulnerable. I don't know if it what actually shows.
Right. Right. I
Cannot see
understand that.
myself from the
Yeah.
distance.
Yeah, I understand that. But here we have out of the blue.
Mhm.
A lovely piece. Was this someone you knew or a commission or?
No, I don't really know the person, but I attracted to her eyes and how she looked, and the place where I began designing the pieces as well, because it's designed around color blue, if you and so um, I put the flowers around her face too, and and it's blue. So um, I was interested in creating the around the portrait.
Okay. And just beautiful, beautiful skin tones, but that hair. I mean, it's really glowing. I absolutely love this section here. Now, this is on a white paper.
Um, I think it was off-white. I could put white highlights with the colored pencil, so it must be off-white.
Oh, I see. Right. And do you think this was a sanded paper?
No, it wasn't. I like drawing on Bristol vellum papers or um,
So can I ask you about
yeah,
vellum? How many layers can you build up on a vellum?
quite a lot. I appreciate Bristol smooth because it's like 2 layers and you're done.
Wow.
But vellum allows you to create, to put many layers.
Okay.
And paper is smooth enough so it doesn't hit your pencil. You can
Right.
be very tight with it.
It looks like you might have scratched out some of these highlights.
I probably indented.
Oh,
Yeah, to indent the paper a lot and then drawing over it.
okay.
I that scratching is kind of dangerous.
I agree. Okay. So if we're following the timeline, now we get to some lovely donuts, and it's titled Donuts.
Yeah, surprise, surprise.
Yeah, surprise. So I guess you were probably drawn to the shadow and the color and the texture.
I needed to create a book cover for my book, The Colored Pencil, and so I needed to come up. Like I felt like I needed something different than an apple or a flower, and that was the result. Oh yeah, and I also wanted to have differences in one drawing.
Yeah.
And so I thought of it long and hard, and then I ran to the store and bought some donuts and photographed them. to create this cover.
Did you eat them?
I'm not a big fan of donuts, too sweet, but my husband ate them all.
Well, that's good. I'm glad somebody got use out of them. And it's wonderful. I mean, it seems like something that would be really fun.
Yes, and I wanted it to be fun because I felt like students want the same subjects over and over again. And so I wanted to have a subject that has texture, that has color, that's not repetitive, all of those things.
Yeah. And then you also have your wonderful technique in the shadows, because the shadows are not just gray, or blue. You've got all kinds of color in the shadows.
Yeah, but that's how I see it. And if you think about it and you look carefully, you do see the color, because it's always reflected from the object. If it's red, it's like if I have a bright red shirt, I would have a lot of red reflected on my face.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
You need to observe the colors of the subject to see them in the shadow.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're absolutely right. I think you push it though. I mean, I think you say, oh, I see some green, and then you go for it, whereas I'm
not afraid of it. Yeah.
Right. You're not afraid of it. All right. So you're probably happy when you see the color. Oh, this is great. I'm going to put some purple here. All right. Now this is a amazing piece, Black Rose. Now, was this in Photoshop?
It was Photoshop, but it was an easy task because I had the picture of the girl, and then I took a picture of the round shape in one of the restaurants that I saw.
Where was it?
Then I just combined the two. It wasn't that hard.
Yeah. Where was this?
I think it was a Thai restaurant, and they had like decoration inside of the restaurant, and I took a picture of that.
Is this on white paper?
It's like no, it's on it has like this sand color that you see on her arm a lot, and on her face, the original color of the surface.
Okay. Yeah, but
like medium tone, yeah.
I'm a little surprised.
And I used a lot of,
this does not look like Veronica Winter's work to me, because there's no pink and green and blue, and well, how do you feel about this piece? I mean, it's beautiful, but
it's a picture that was given to me by my friend, a black and white photographer, and it's her daughter. And the photographer's name is Angelica Collin, and so she does a lot of photography, but I was so mesmerized by this of the girl that I asked for it. I wanted to draw it. I wanted to create this piece.
Yeah.
And I know it's color, but sometimes we don't feel like life is colorful.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that is very, very true. All right, now we start to, I'm going to jump because we're halfway there already. And I want to jump to what reminds me of you. I mean, like when I see this, I could say, oh yeah, that's Veronica Winters. Kind of like it's a woman and it's colorful, but then there's also pattern, and sort of mystical elements, which I feel like you kind of bring in.
Mhm. Yes, I like to um, explore that exists between us, the humans, and high. And so then, because it's a mystery, we don't know what happens, for instance, when we die, right? It's there. And I'm interested in that space. Like, I'm not religious, but I find myself interested in the spiritual side of every person. And so in my art, to combine this idea of body, mind, and spirit. And so I express it in symbols and color, and yeah.
So you drew this beautiful eye, and
Mhm.
then on top of that,
Mhm.
you took a white pencil. Is that right?
Mhm.
And just went.
Yeah.
How scary.
Well, I used to throw my art away, so it's not that scary to start and throw it out if it doesn't work out. Not everything works out, so that's how you learn.
So you regularly threw out work.
I used to do it a lot, and sometimes I want to burn everything. Because I don't know, I'm very critical of myself and what I do, and so I guess after a while I can go back and see it and say, oh, well, okay, why did I want to do that? But by the time I'm finished, yeah, I feel like burn it.
Yeah, I kind of understand that. I think that is a really, really beautiful piece. I mean, I absolutely love it. It's a
Thank you.
beautiful eye. And then this pattern that is subtle but very there, I just find really fascinating. Um, and then the next year we have alignment. So this must have something to do with the stars.
Yeah, it's like, again, it's the idea of unity of body, mind, and spirit, or your soul. Um, and so I usually express it through symbols. And the I find those in museums when I travel. Like, this one comes from my travels in Spain, and I felt like it's kind of like around the figure, which makes her look mystical and almost divine.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah. But I also find it interesting. I mean, I guess this is why I say you paint strong women. I mean, she's not a frail little thing, she's a sturdy woman and beautiful, but a
mhm,
sturdy, strong woman, along with the mystical
mhm.
things is to me very, very you and makes you very unique.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to draw different types
Yeah.
if I can.
So this is behind, no, that's not the one. Yeah, this is the one behind you. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Let's take a look at that. And really, honestly, I have to ask you, I mean, how do you decide where to put pink and where to put blue and gold and like in the face, in the skin tones? Like, is it just the spirit moves you or what? I want to get in your head.
Yeah, just what I said. I usually see those colors. I get push them a little bit further. I do see all in the reference. If I don't see anything, I don't draw it. So
Really? This is amazing.
Mhm.
Now, I have read that we see differently. Like we all see, reds differently and pinks differently. Like we think it's universal,
Mhm.
but it's not. So I think you must have extra color cones in your eyes.
Probably. Yeah. I cannot smell much. I think all of that went into my eyesight. But
Oh,
seriously, I do see all those colors. I don't invent them.
wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I'm so glad we had this because I would never believe that. And that's like just so cool. I mean, because they all glow and they're very, very, very unique. So where was this, is this a crown?
Yeah, it is a crown. The crown is one of my references, one of my reference pictures that I took in Spain again. But yeah, I like the idea behind this drawing is simple. I wanted to create something very beautiful, like full of light, that exists in the universe. So everything in the universe, and it's changing constantly. And so this is the expression of the light of the universe.
What is what is this thing snaking behind the crown?
It's my tool for energy and vibration. Again, something that we don't see, but we experience it. Like we meet someone and we feel something. So that's energy and vibration.
How long does a piece like, well, oh, it says it's on wood. What? Oh, this is on wood. What kind of
Mhm.
wood?
I buy wood panels for oil painting, but if they don't have any priming on them, the surface is clear, and yeah, it's just wood.
So is this down here the wood?
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Yeah, that's the color of the. Mhm.
oh my gosh. And did the markers go on top of the color pencil or below? Or both?
On top, I used a little bit of a marker to lift out some highlights and just add some gold accents. Like it's not seen in the picture, but when you see it in person, it reflects like there is some shimmer
Okay.
because of the mark. Mhm.
Oh, interesting. The jewels are really, these blue jewels are really beautiful. Are they eyes?
Yeah, yeah. Like draw a lot of eyes and the expressions of higher consciousness or higher power, and so they might not look like human eyes, but I put them in as a of having like living with higher power.
A lot of your women, though, they look a little bit sad, or a lot of your people. It's hard to know if she's just serious or if she's a little bit, um, I don't know, disappointed or a little bit detached even. How, how would you feel like you see her?
um I think as artists, as any artist, we always paint a part of ours, even if it's a different person. And so I think sadness is a part of me. It used to be a very big part of me, not anymore. It does show through sometimes. And so So what it becomes is painting strength, but there is a little bit of sadness in it.
Yeah. Or vulnerability, I guess you could say. I
Yeah.
kind of said it
Yeah.
before. Yeah, maybe that's it more, is strength and vulnerability, which, we women tend to do better than men. Ah. Oh dear. Now I might get some bad comments. But I think it's true. Okay. Now I'll get more. All right. So this is you. Let it be. Wow. Wow. This is just last year, Veronica. Wait, first, how many paintings a year do you do?
I don't know. I don't like that. Probably, one painting a month.
Okay.
So 12 paintings a year.
And this is like a matchbook house on fire?
Yeah. Yeah. In terms of materials, it's a colored pencil drawing on wood, and it's covered in resin with some glitter.
Wow.
And there's some glass in it, like the flowers, the centers of the flowers have some glass in it. And so you cannot really photograph glossy, objects, and the glitter doesn't sparkle, but you can see those tiny dots, so it's glitter.
Well, this is a pretty powerful piece. It's a little scary, but also strong. It's really interesting. Do you have uh, a gallery where you show your work, or what happens to these beautiful pieces?
I participate in the shows once in a while, but most of them are at my studio. So stop by my studio to see it.
Oh my goodness. That must be a nice big studio and beautiful. What with the time that we have, oh my gosh, I love this one so much. Let's talk about this one. Look at those look at that beautiful modeling in those figures. I absolutely love
Thank
it.
you. Um, well, again, it's like because I combine different, like, believe it or not, I don't think I have that much information in my mind, but I kind of combine different symbols as elements into my art. And so again, it has a special meaning for me, because I wanted to create a piece that that perfect balance. And I put identical portraits to show this balance between humanity and higher consciousness. And the symbol in between the figures, it goes a perfect balance of earth, air, fire, and water. So that's the idea behind it. But I drew it on Canson color liner. This is the paper that I use most of the time. And it comes in 19 by 25 inches. Sometimes I subdivide it, but I learned it's better to draw big and to spend more time on one piece as opposed to create small pieces that are kind of difficult to fill in.
You covered one of the faces.
It Surprise again, you know, I move different elements using photo. My original idea was drawing two people, but when I dropped the flower, the petal covered the face, and I really loved it. It made it mystical.
Yes, much more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
One of those kind of happy creative accidents.
Yes,
The thing is,
you can say it.
Veronica, I have done some of what you're talking about, where I take different elements and I put them together, and they are never pleasing.
Maybe you're critical of yourself. I don't know. I've never seen anything of yours of this kind, so I don't know. I think you must be very critical.
Well, I don't know. I'll show it to people and say, what do you think? And they're like, why?
Well, that's the response that I get from most people. They don't understand thing that I do, and that's okay.
Yeah,
You know, I can explain it, but I see that a lot of people don't get it. It's okay.
Yeah.
I do it for myself, for my expression. That's wonderful. Someone else loves it, but it's not a requirement.
right. I think
So it shouldn't stop you to do what you want to do if you want to do it.
I'm going to do it, Veronica. I'm going to do it.
Yes. Let's do it.
Do it. This is beautiful and amazing. And I've never seen it before. Child of Love. Can you tell us about this?
Yeah. Again, the major reference is actually a sculpture of a boy that I took in Italy somewhere. And that's how the piece started. I basically go into my folder and start picking out the references that I have. I put them into Photoshop, and then I begin combining the picture. Sometimes I know the exact idea I want to express, and other times I don't. I'm just attracted to certain references, and that was the case for this draw. But when I started working on it, I realized that it was about my son and, you know, difficulties in life that he experienced it. And so that's how I expressed it in this drawing.
Wow.
And so I showed him as a boy, although he's not a boy, he's 24 years old. But I guess that's how I processed emotions and information and put it into my art.
So like with the color here, like I'm looking at the moth. I don't know if it's a butterfly or a moth, but like what was that original?
Yeah, that's a new thing. Mine is trying new programs, you know, AI generating programs, and he has been arranging a lot of different elements, like using those AI programs. And so I decided to take some of his files as the idea for this piece. And that's why it looks so, it's kind of like a butterfly, but it's not a real butterfly. So basically, the reference is the computer image that doesn't quite look like this. You know, I made it look better. The way it works right now is that it does generate images. You can say something like a butterfly with solars or elements and include some artists into the description, and then it comes up with the image. But most of the times, out not symmetrical or unfinished, or this give you the idea of an image, but not the, the end result. Many artists are afraid of this new development, computer-generated images, but it's far from being art now. In terms of composition,
So tell me again,
symmetry, all of that.
I'm going to write this down in the chat. What is the name of the program?
Disco diffusion.
DIS?
CO, and the second diffusion.
Disco diffusion. And that's an app that you can use in Photoshop or like on your phone or what?
No, it's not it's Photoshop. It's basically you go to that site and you can render images. I think it's free. I mean, you can purchase more time. The basics are free, and so you can try it out and see how it works. And there are several programs available right now. We are trying out several programs, but I don't remember which ones. Like, I just remember Disco Diffusion.
Yeah. So you can actually you can Google AI art and you'll probably find the different programs.
Yeah, but AI rendering program.
Oh yeah.
Something
AI
like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Something like that. You're right. You're right. Wow. That's amazing. So that's why that image is a little confusing. It kind of looks like a moth because I think moths have fatter bodies, but it's not a moth. And it's like, what is that? Oh, that's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. But I just again love your glowing colors. And this is on what color paper is this?
This Hansen color line, and I think the color is fuchsia.
Oh, fuchsia. Wow.
Fuchsia, yeah.
Can I ask you if you're working on a paper like that, do you put down your values in white first? Oh yeah, that's definitely very pink. Yeah. Do you put your values down in white first? Your lighter values?
So that's how it goes. It's important to work on the shadows. So when I have the outline of ink, I know where I mark the shadows and the highlights. So I do it simultaneously. Okay. And then I bridge the gap between the two values, creating layers of color.
Yeah, I love that. So, I mean, that's kind of how I work too. I have my white paper, I put in my blacks first, my darks first, then I bridge the gap between the white paper and the dark. I just love this image so much. It's so unique. And I'm going to do one more. Which one would you like me to do? Flower of Life, Space, Heart?
Let's do the last one, Create.
Create. Wow. Again, your own reference photo?
Yeah, from Italy. Yeah. The angel is, I mean, I from one, like in one of the churches in Italy. I don't remember. Yeah. And the architectural element comes from Italian architect as well. But smaller elements come from that disco diffusion.
Oh, really? So like
they do like the flowers look like orchids, not real orchids,
Yeah.
right? So, and the hearts, they're kind of like hearts, but not quite.
Yeah.
So,
I love this perspective as you go up.
mhm. That was the whole idea. I wanted to, I think I'm gonna create more images with this idea of
That's really
of
wonderful.
a staircase. Yeah.
Plus you have like these gray tones all around, and then as you get closer to the sky, you get more and more color. So you're really drawn that way, you know. Yeah, it's got wonderful.
I'm so happy you noticed it.
Well, I look at a lot of art, so I seem to be able to see what's kind of special about that art. I mean, this is really intriguing here. It's an part of an owl, I guess.
Yes.
Kind
And
of
again, it's a digital
wow,
owl. Yeah.
fabulous. I think maybe my furniture is here. Perfect timing. Well, Veronica, I'm going to stop sharing. So it's just you and I again. And gosh, that was just absolutely so, it was wonderful. And that's what it was. It was wonderful talking with you about the art. I want to tell everyone that right before we started, Veronica told me a sad tale of how she got completely hacked and lost her thousands of people on Facebook. And you know how heartbreaking that must be, but she does have Instagram. So if you want to follow, are you Veronica Winters on Instagram? Could you write it in chat? It's down at the bottom.
Yeah.
That has just, you know, we talked about it quite a bit. That has to be just absolutely, oh, Veronica Winters art, absolutely devastating to lose all your years and years of work building up a fan base or
All the people, everything.
yeah, that's too sad. Why do people have to do that kind of thing? It's just terrible. But anyway, you have been delightful. I know you were a little nervous before we started, but I think we had a great conversation, don't you?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
It always feels so nervous to start. It's horrible.
But we made it through, and now I'm going to go do some fun art that's totally different, and I don't care if anybody doesn't like it.
Yes.
Thanks, Veronica. Thanks everyone for coming.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.